It's the most wonderful time of the year. Yes, the most wonderful time. Oh, the most wonderful time of the
YouTube, what's going on, man? It's your boy Dizzy, and you know what day it is, man.
Guess what day it is? Huh? Anybody? Julie, hey, guess what day it is? Oh, come on, I know you can hear me. Mike. What day is it, Mike? Leslie, guess what today is?
It's hump day.
Woo-woo!
It's Wednesday, aka Hump Day, aka halfway through the week, which makes this halftime. This is the new and improved halftime with Dizzy. Like I said, I'm your boy Dizzy, and I appreciate you clicking on that video, man. Before we get into it, make sure you drop a like, subscribe if you're new. If you're not new, make sure you share with a friend, man. I'm tired of running into y'all in public and y'all talking about, oh, Dizzy, I see your stuff on YouTube, I see your content, I see da da da, but you're not subscribed. So what sense does that make? Exit out the video right now. Go down and subscribe if you're not already. I don't want to hear it. Don't ask no questions, no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
Don't ask. I said don't ask. I said don't ask. No questions. Just give the money.
As I said, this is a new and improved halftime with Dizzy. And first and foremost, if you haven't noticed already, we got a new little setup. I'm not in the dorm as of right now. I gotta give a special shout out to my boy Carson and his family. This is a room in their beautiful home that they're letting me use for these videos, man. I can't thank you guys enough. Thank you so much. But that's not the only reason why this is new and improved. Another reason why this is new and improved is we are aiming for consistency, man. And one thing that the great teams, the great coaches, the great GMs, whatever in football do, they have a game plan. That's how they stay consistent. That's how they know what they want to do, is by sticking to a game plan. And as you see on the screen, we got a game plan for this episode, and this is how every episode will go. Game plan basically telling you what we're going to talk about all throughout the show, man. And as you see, number one on the list, we're going to talk about what this show really is and who I am and what I'm trying to get out of this show, man. And let's dive right into it, man. So like I said, I'm Dizzy. My mama named me Donovan. And what this is me getting better at my craft. What I want to do once I'm done with college, one more semester, by the way, a little pat on the back. I want to be a sports analyst, a sports broadcaster, the Stephen A. Smiths, the Shannon Sharps, those guys that you see on ESPN, on Fox Sports 1, CBS Sports, all that stuff. I want to be the next big name, the next big face that you see when you turn on the TV screen. And so this halftime with Dizzy, this is just me talking football, talking the biggest stories in football at all levels, NFL, college, high school, everything. And it's me working on my craft. Now, last year when I started this, I said, this is just me practicing. This is just me working on my craft, blah, 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 blah. But this time around, I'm really focused on the content and it being engaging. And I want to grow this audience, and I want to make this a community, a safe space where we talk football. I want this to be interactive. I want you guys to have as much say in these videos as I do. I want y'all to comment, text me, whatever it is. You like something I say, let me know. You dislike something I say, let me know. I want to even get, phone calls into the show, man, so that we can really be interactive. I want to grow this community. So I don't care if it's your mama, if it's your daddy, auntie, uncle, friend, boyfriend, girlfriend. Let them know about this community, about this channel. Get them subscribed, man. Tell your preacher, tell your pastor, because when it comes to football, I'm going to get up here and I'm going to be preaching, man. Can I get an amen for that? All right, cool. Let's do this, man. Halftime headline. So what that means is we're going to take the biggest stories, or maybe not even the biggest. Maybe it's just stuff I want to talk about, you want to hear me talk about, or you're interested in learning about, whatever it is. We're going to take headlines and stories that we see throughout the week, and we're going to talk about it, man. The first thing I got on the list is A trade went down between the Eagles and the Commanders. Tim McManus of ESPN reported on it. He said the Washington Commanders traded 2022 first-round pick Jahan Dotson and the 2025 fifth-round pick to the Philadelphia Eagles in exchange for a third-round pick and 2 seventh-round picks. Now, whew, man, the rich get richer. The rich get richer. The Philadelphia Eagles secure that wide receiver 3 spot after paying A.J. Brown, after paying Devontae Smith. And what I take from all this, man, this whole offseason, I've been thinking about it for months. In my opinion, Jalen Hurts is under the most pressure going into this new season. I know people want to talk about, oh, it's Lamar or it's Dak Prescott or bunch of names out there that you can throw. But I'm going with Jalen Hurts because if you want to talk about a team, a front office that is putting the pieces around their quarterback, look no further than the Philadelphia Eagles. They struggled last year on defense, especially in the secondary. What do? They go draft 2 of the best corners in the draft. They re-sign C.J. Gardner-Johnson. What do you need if you're a quarterback? You need O-line and you need wide receivers. They sign their O-lineman. They re-sign A.J. Brown to a big deal. They re-sign Devontae Smith to a deal. They go get Jahan Dotson. And not to mention, they go and get one of the best running backs in the game in Saquon Barkley, who you know is going to be on a revenge tour after how he got treated in New York. So I look at all of that and say, if you're Jalen Hurts, you got the keys to this great car, to this great machine. You got to go take it all the way. Go ahead and take it to the Super Bowl, get you a Super Bowl. And if you don't, Philly's a tough town to play in. Philly is a tough town to play in. Go ask Ben Simmons if you don't believe me. And so if he don't get it done, I think there's going to be a lot of questions around Jalen Hurts, especially when he had a great year a couple years ago, which got them to the Super Bowl. He had a little bit of drop off last year, had a lot of turnovers, didn't look too good at all, especially in the postseason. Here we go. You lost Jason Kelce. That's a big loss, but you're going to have to get it done. You got the pieces around you. I think that, especially considering that the NFC, they are competitive, but not as competitive as the AFC. I think you got to get it done if you're Jalen Hurts. He's under the most pressure, in my opinion. Speaking of pressure, man, I don't know if there's more pressure on somebody than someone who has to replace a legend, a GOAT. And that's what's going down in Tuscaloosa as head coach Kalen DeBoer was hired by Alabama after Nick Saban announced that he was retiring. I found this article written by Dylan Zavoboda. I hope I'm saying that right. Of the New York Post. He said the Crimson Tide are currently plus 1,500 to win the national championship in year 1 without Saban. Those are Alabama's worst preseason title odds in 16 years. During Saban's second season at the helm in Tuscaloosa in 2008, according to Sports Odds History. Whew, man, it's crazy. It's crazy because Bama has been a program that they're the top. They're the creme de la creme, and they're talked about every offseason going into the season. And you really haven't heard much about them. You hear about Georgia. You hear a lot about Ohio State. You hear about USC. How's Lincoln Riley going to do? Is this his last year? Obviously, you hear about Colorado with Coach Primetime. But you haven't heard a lot about Alabama after Saban has departed. And I don't think they're going to do as bad as people may think. I think that they're returning a lot of guys. When you look at their schedule, Georgia is the only team that they play that is ranked higher than them. Bama goes into the season ranked 5th. Georgia's ranked number 1. Everyone else that's ranked that Alabama's going to have to play is behind them in the rankings. And I'm looking at Kalen DeBoer. Who really probably has had a better last 2 seasons than anybody in college football. While at Washington, during his 2 seasons there, they played 11 ranked teams. Okay, 11 ranked teams. They only lost one of those games, and it was in the national championship last year to Michigan, who was ranked number 1. So when you look at that, when you look at the fact that Bama is returning a lot of guys, you look at the fact that we're going 12-team CFP now, not just 4 teams. I think they'll definitely be in the dance when the songs get to playing, and I think they'll make a run. I don't think that Bama is going to make some drastic drop off because Nick Saban's gone. Now, of course, Nick Saban is Nick Saban. He's the GOAT when it comes to college football coaching. But I think that Alabama is still going to be a powerhouse, no doubt about it. And I think they'll be in the mix when it's all said and done, man. And so, uh, yeah. Moving on to something that's been talked about a lot over the last few weeks, especially as the Olympics have been wrapping up. In 2028, flag football will be into the Olympic Games. It was reported by David K. Lee of NBC. He said flag football and squash are set to make first-time Olympic appearances in a little less than 4 years. I'm excited for this, man. And it's going to be the Olympic Games are going to be in LA. I hope I could get out there and to watch some competitions, man. A lot of people have been saying, oh, well, what current NFL players will be on this team? Who are we going to send out there? There's some controversy because current flag football players are saying, oh, nah, they got to earn their spot, stuff like that. I'm not going to get into all that because I do think it's a little dumb to think that NFL players can't just go in there and dominate in flag football when they're obviously the best in tackle football. But like I said, I'll leave that alone. Where I'm going to go is I'm going to give you who I would draft as an all-time USA flag football team. All time, which means every player that's ever played the game of football, especially the NFL, man. Just real quick, the rules are you got to have 5 people on the field at once, but I'm going to draft multiple people at a position. So we got some depth, you know what I'm saying? On offense, we're going to have some personnel switches and stuff like that, depending on the situation. So, like I said, man, like I said earlier, if it's something you agree with, make sure you hop in the comments and you let me know. This is going to be something that a lot of y'all might not agree with. So make sure you let me know who is your preferred player at each position as I go through, man. So we're going to start off with offense, man. At quarterback, I got Lamar Jackson. I don't care. This game, flag football, look up how it's played. It's about speed. It's about agility. It's not just about, being Tom Brady and you can just throw the ball, or Patrick Mahomes, you can just throw the ball. You got to be able to run. They're going to have blitzers coming all over the place. Lamar, who's better? Who's better at running and throwing than Lamar? As long as Patrick Mahomes ain't on the other sideline, Lamar can perform. As long as it's not a big game in the playoffs, Lamar's going to perform. So I got Lamar Jackson as my quarterback. Running back 1, I don't feel I need to say anything other than his name, Barry Sanders. This man couldn't be touched in a full game of 11-on-11 tackle football. So you think these dudes going to grab his flag? No. Barry Sanders is my running back 1. Running back 2, I feel like if you a real one, we're gonna be in lockstep on this one. CJ2K, the fastest running back to ever run a 40 at the combine, man. You get him in open field, you're not tackling him, you're not catching him, so you sure as hell ain't grabbing his flag, man. Give me Chris Johnson as my running back 2. We're going to run some 21 personnel, stuff like that, get in the red zone. Ain't nobody going to be able to guard him too quick, too fast. I got CJ2K at RB2. My tight end. Now, this one, I had to think about it a little bit. I'm a tight end myself. You know what I'm saying? So, I had to do a little digging. There's a lot of good guys out there, but I'm going to stick with Travis Kelce. That's my dog right there. I'm going to go with Travis Kelce at the tight end position because when it comes to finding the holes and running those routes over the middle, there ain't many better than him. I know there's Gronk out there. The thing with Gronk, though, is that I think he's going to give me too many penalties. He's going to be flag guarding. He's going to be stiff arming, trying to run people over and stuff. He's going to forget that it's not tackle football, and we need a disciplined team if you're going to be playing for me. So I'm going to go Travis Kelce. Also, his brother Jason Kelce could teach him how to snap. He's going to be our center. Snap the ball, then go out for a route. I got Travis Kelce at tight end. The receiving room. Again, this might be a little controversial. I want y'all to let me know what y'all think. Wide receiver 1. So we're going to stick with our outsides first. My first outside, Randy Moss. When it comes to speed, when it comes to getting downfield and then just throw it up, he going to catch it. Who does it better than who? There's a term out there, you got Moss. It comes from number 84, and I think it's in the number if you ask me. I got Randy Moss as my first outside receiver. On the other side of him, you want to talk about if Randy Moss is the best at going up and get it, you know who number 2 is? It's Calvin Johnson, without question. I'm taking Megatron all day. Just throw it up there, Lamar, and Calvin Johnson gonna come down with it without a doubt. Here we go. Here we go. My two insides. All right. This first one, I don't think there's anything to debate. They call him the cheetah for a reason. Nobody gonna be able to catch him. Nobody ever gonna be able to grab his flag. None of that. Was just voted the best NFL football player in the NFL Top 100 this past season. There's no debate on this. I'm taking Tyreek Hill as my slot. On the other side, again, if you're a real one and you know ball and you know what I'm going for when I talk about speed, when I talk about agility, you gonna know that the human joystick gonna take everybody's ankle. Give me Dante Hall as my other slot receiver because just look up his highlights. When you're done with this video, go look at Dante Hall highlights. Nobody was touching him. Nobody was coming close to touching him. And so that's tackle. That's tackle football. So when we talk about grabbing somebody's flag now, which takes even more discipline and technique, and you got to be able, you can't just tackle them and then you try to rip the flag. You have to reach down there and grab this man's flag. You ain't grabbing Dante Hall's flag, man. I promise you that. So to recap, on the offensive side of the ball, I got Lamar Jackson at quarterback, Barry Sanders and Chris Johnson as my running backs, Travis Kelce as my tight end, Randy Moss, Calvin Johnson, Tyreek Hill, and Dante Hall as my receivers. Let's switch over to the defense, man. And a lot of old heads might get on me on this one. But then again, there's a lot of old heads on this list. So I hope y'all spare me a little bit. But if not, let me know in the comments. Like I said, all right, defense. As my safety, come on, man. Come on, man. Ed Reed, bro. That's a no-brainer. That's a no-brainer. You want to talk about ball hawk. You want to talk about the greatest to ever do it. Ed Reed, without a doubt. My second safety that I'm going to put on there, again, it's all on personnel. You know what I'm saying? It's all on situation, stuff like that. My second safety, I'm going to go with the Honey Badger. Among current safeties, he is second all-time in interceptions among active players. So I'm going to take Tyrann Mathieu as my second player. Again, another ball hawk, another guy who knows how to read the offense and get to the ball. And you know he's going to come down and make a play every time. So I'm going to take Tyrann Mathieu as my second safety. My DBs, again, my corners, actually, I should say. Again, I don't think I should have to go into explanation when it comes to this, but CB1, the GOAT, primetime, Deion Sanders. My second corner on the other side, Darrelle Revis Island. I mean, who gonna be open? Ain't nobody gonna be open with those two. And then I'm gonna bring in a third corner if we need, if it's third and long, fourth and long type of situation. I'm gonna bring in a third corner. I'm gonna bring in the guy who is third in all-time interceptions. That's Rod Woodson. He's going to be my third corner. Now, this next position is where it might be a little controversial because you old heads, you got one guy. When I bring up the word rusher, you got one guy in mind. I think we all thinking of the same guy, right? But I'm not going with him. I'm not going with Lawrence Taylor. I gotta go with a current dude. I gotta go with a young blood. You know what I'm saying? He ran a 4.36 at the combine as a linebacker, rushing. The Cowboys got him and they moved him to the edge, and he's been a menace ever since. Give me Micah Parsons rushing the quarterback, getting that flag, and not only that, but he's super athletic to where if I gotta drop him in the coverage, I could drop him in the coverage. Shoot, if I want him to play offense, he can play offense too. I'm gonna take Micah Parsons as my rusher and as my middle linebacker, the leader. I mean, who else? Give me Ray Lewis, man. He gonna lead us to the promised land, man. Now, I almost messed up a lot of y'all old heads and said Fred Warner, but I'm gonna go with Ray Lewis. I think he gonna get the job done. I mean, that's a no-brainer, man. Again, if you have anything to say about this list, holla at me, man. Let me know what you think. We'll talk about it in the next video, man. But that's my all-time USA flag football team, and I don't think we losing. I think we win in gold without a doubt, man. But let me know what y'all think in the comments, man. And from here, let's get into some predictions, man.
One thing. Predictions. I'm doing these every single week. We're going to pick the best game, and we're going to tell you
who's going to win, how they're going to win. And again, like everything else, let me know if you agree. Let me know if you disagree. We got some really interesting college football matchups coming up this weekend, starting with number 7, Notre Dame, heading down to College Station to take on Texas A&M, who is ranked 20th, man. Let me tell you, that place is going to be jumping. If this was NCAA, that damn meter that be at the top of the screen when the crowd loud, it'd be all the way full. It ain't going to be no joke, man. Games like this are won in the trenches, O-line, D-line. And when I look at it, I think Texas A&M going to pull this one out. I think they're going to have an upset, and I think that College Station gonna go crazy. They're gonna rush the field, all that stuff. And here's a big reason why. Notre Dame has a big injury up front in left tackle Charles Jagusa. I hope I'm saying that right. He's basically supposed to be the next Joe Alt. If you don't know who Joe Alt is, he was Notre Dame's great left tackle the last few years, and he just got drafted by the Chargers. This guy Charles was supposed to be him. He's supposed to be Joe Alt 2.0. He's out for the season with a torn pec, and I think that's huge, especially when you look at some of the guys that A&M brought in. They brought in transfers like Nick Scorton and Cassius Howe, who each had 10 sacks last year. That's going to be huge when you talk about getting to the quarterback in a loud environment, making plays to make the environment even get louder. I think that's going to be huge, and I think that's going to play a factor in this game. I think when you go skill for skill, I think they match up pretty evenly. I'm going to go with the home team and with the team that I think is going to win in the trenches, and that's Texas A&M. Next up, man, number 23, USC, going ahead to number 13, LSU. Now, I think if I picked USC, I wouldn't have a home to go. I wouldn't have a place to go home to later in the year because my dad would not allow me to go back home as he is a UCLA graduate. But that's not the only reason why I'm picking LSU. The biggest question going into this season for both these teams is how are they going to be without their Heisman winning quarterbacks? How is USC going to be without Caleb Williams? How is LSU going to be without Jaden Daniels? And when it comes to stuff like that, I go to coaching. I go to the guys who are really leading this team. And when I look at Lincoln Riley, he is 2-6 in the regular season against ranked opponents. He's faced 2 teams in the top 10. Now, this is during his time with SC that I'm talking about, not all time. But during his time with SC, he's played 2 teams that are ranked in the top 10 and lost to both of them. Brian Kelly, on the other hand, in his 2 seasons with LSU, he is 3-5 in the regular season record against ranked opponents. He's played 6 top 10 teams. So when it comes to the big games, when it comes to playing the best competition, I'm going to put my trust in a guy who's been doing it since he was at Notre Dame and now he's doing it at LSU. I'm going to go with Brian Kelly, and I'm going to take LSU to win this game at home. Last one, man. Clemson versus Georgia. Number 14 ranked Clemson's going to head to number 1 Georgia. To me, it's Kirby versus Dabo Sweeney. And Kirby's been a guy who's been had his hands on people's throats for the last few years, and Dabo's a guy who ain't done much in the last couple of years. So I'm gonna take Kirby Smart. I think Georgia's on a revenge tour. I think they're a team that believes they should have been in the national championship last year, and they're going to be on a run like no other, and they're going to get back there so that they can get their 3rd natty in 4 years, man. So I'm going to take Georgia to win this, and I think they're going to win this in a pretty convincing fashion, if I'm honest. Now, we're moving on to the NFL, man, and the NFL don't have no games this week, but I'm going to do something that I did last year. I thought it was real fun, especially when I do these picks, and then I kind of monitor them all throughout the season. I'm going to predict who I think is going to win the NFL awards at the end of the year, man. So we got Offensive Rookie of the Year, Defensive Rookie of the Year, Offensive Player of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year, and, of course, the most valuable player, man. And we're going to start with the Offensive Rookie of the Year. I wanted to go with the boy out of the IE, man, out of San Bernardino, California, Jaden Daniels, man. I wanted to go with him so bad, but I just think the situation in Chicago is so perfect for Caleb Williams, man. The way that they built this team, I think that he's really going to thrive. The only question I really have about him is how is he going to be when he leaves the pocket? Is he going to be forcing throws downfield like he did at USC, or is he going to say, all right, I'm going to eat this, I'm going to take off and run with it, or I'm going to throw it away? That's my biggest question when it comes to Caleb Williams. But outside of that, we see he's talented enough. We see that he has the weapons around him. I think he's easily going to be one of the best things the Bears have ever had in a long time. And I think he'll win Offensive Rookie of the Year. Defensive Rookie of the Year. This was tough for me. This was tough to pick out. I'm going to go Leatu Latu for the Indianapolis Colts, man. The Colts were top 5 in sacks last season. They had 51 sacks. DeForest Buckner, Grover Stewart, Kwity Paye, all leading the front for that D-line. And they're adding a guy in Leatu Latu who had 35 and a half TFLs, 24 sacks in 37 college games, man. So I think I'm a firm believer that on up front, you always try to take away the D-line's best guy. You double him. You send running back help that way. But if you have a D-line full of guys that can get to the quarterback, you can't just double one guy. So if I'm an offense, I'm saying we're gonna double DeForest Buckner. We're gonna double Grover Stewart if we have to, or Kwity Paye if we have to, and we're gonna let the rookie beat us. We're gonna force the rookie to have to beat us, and I think that a lot of teams are gonna take that approach. And Leatu Latu is gonna have a lot of one-on-ones, and he's gonna be great for the Colts in his first year. So I got him winning Defensive Rookie of the Year, man. Moving on, Offensive Player of the Year. I told you I try to pick the Cali boys. I got a little bias, man. Offensive Player of the Year, man. I'm going with Amon-Ra St. Brown. I know that's one that might be tough when you got Tyreek Hill, you got Justin Jefferson, Christian McCaffrey, all these guys. I just think that when you look at this guy, if you haven't watched Receivers on Netflix, go watch that, man. This dude was playing on a torn oblique. He was playing with sicknesses. He was playing just not healthy and still was top 3 in receiving. Still was just an absolute dog. And I think with his work ethic, especially considering that he wasn't selected to be in the Pro Bowl last year, he gonna make a lot of people feel him this year. And I think the Lions themselves are a team that's hungry because they easily should have been in the Super Bowl last year. They choked that one away. And so I think him, along with the rest of his team, is going to be working like no other. And I got Amon-Ra winning Offensive Player of the Year, man. Defensive Player of the Year. I'm going to go with a guy who he's talked about, and it's like if he wins it, you wouldn't be surprised, but at the same time, you're probably not picking him. You're not thinking of him. I'm going to go with my boy out in Vegas, Max Crosby. Again, like I said earlier with the Colts, when you have a D-line with multiple guys that can get to the quarterback, you can't just double one guy. The Raiders went out and got Christian Wilkinson from the Miami Dolphins, who had 9 sacks last year. Max Crosby had 14 and a half sacks last year. So now you can't just double Crosby, because if not, Christian Wilkinson going to eat you up all day long. And so I think Max Crosby is going to get a lot more one-on-ones. Antonio Pierce is going to find a way to get him one-on-one situations with other blitzes off the edge and stuff like that. And I got Max Crosby winning Defensive Player of the Year, man. Moving on, man. MVP. So if I'm all about Cali, this should be a no-brainer on who I'm picking for MVP, man. It's that boy out of the city that I'm from, Rancho Cucamonga, California, CJ Stroud. I got him winning MVP, man, after having a historic rookie season. I think it's a no-brainer. He's going to win MVP, and not just because of the talent that he is, but the talent that's been put around him, man. You're talking about a guy who was 8th in passing yards last year. Tank Dell got hurt during the year. Tank Dell will come back. Nico Collins will come back, who was 8th in receiving last year. You re-signed Dalton Schultz. You added Stephon Diggs, who had over 1,200 receiving yards. You add Joe Mixon, who's going to help you out in the running game. He was top 10 in rushing yards. If you have a guy that's going to be good when you're running the ball, they can't just go drop 8. They can't flood the field with DBs. They have to respect the run, put guys in the box to stop it. And so when you add Joe Mixon, that's going to help you out with that. And so now you play action, and now you're sending bombs down the field to Tank Dell, to Nico Collins, to Stephon Diggs. Man. So I think for sure CJ Stroud his numbers are gonna be even better than they were last year, and I think he's gonna be the MVP. And Man, if you're a fan of a team in the AFC that's not the Texans, you're not gonna like this right now because I'm straight up glazing them right now. I'm not gonna lie. Look at what this team, if in the offseason, when you look at teams who did it the best, I said Philly earlier. If Philly's number one, the Texans are two. If maybe they're two, I would even argue that maybe they're one, but I'm trying to stay consistent in what I said earlier. So I'm going to put the Texans at two in terms of their work in the offseason. You went and you added a 4-time Pro Bowler in Danielle Hunter on the defensive line. You also add Danico Autry, who had 11 and a half sacks last year, to go with your defensive rookie of the year, and Will Anderson, man. You added some more help in the back end with Derek Stingley Jr. by adding Jeff Okuda and CJ Henderson. Just seeing the moves that they're making, just seeing the way that they're saying we're going to surround our franchise guy with nothing but talent on both sides of the ball, it's got me thinking, man, I genuinely think that Houston is going to be in the Super Bowl and perhaps win a Super Bowl within the next 3 to 5 years. I'm not saying that they're going to do it this year. I think that they'll have to gel a little bit, but I think within the next 3 to 5, they'll definitely be in it and possibly win one, man. Just look, and there's a big reason why I say that. I'm not just trying to be on the hype train. You got to remember who their head coach is. Their head coach is DeMeco Ryans. Where did DeMeco come from? He came from the 49ers. He was with the Niners when they went to the Super Bowl against the Kansas City Chiefs, not this past season, but a few years back. I think it was 2020 or 2021. And when you look at this Texans team, it's a carbon copy of that same team. He is taking that same team and brought it to Houston, and tried to replicate it in Houston. Here's what I mean. Your offensive key pieces, Jimmy Garoppolo at quarterback, Raheem Mostert at running back. Your receivers were Emmanuel Sanders, Deebo Samuel, and Kendrick Bourne. Tight end, George Kittle. Left tackle, Trent Williams. On defense, you had Nick Bosa and Eric Armstead coming off the edge. Your D tackles were DeForest Buckner and DJ Jones. Fred Warner, Quan Alexander, and Azeez Al-Shaair were your linebackers. Your corners were Richard Sherman, Akello Witherspoon, and Emmanuel Mosley. And your safeties were Jimmy Ward and Jaquiski Tart. Now let's look at the Texans. That was the 2020 San Francisco 49ers. Now let's look at the 2024 Houston Texans. CJ Stroud at quarterback. Joe Mixon at running back. Stephon Diggs, Nico Collins, and Tank Dell at wide receiver. Dalton Schultz at tight end. Laramie Tunsil at left tackle. Your edges are Danielle Hunter and Will Anderson. Your D tackles are Danico Autry and Mario Edwards Jr. Your linebackers are Azeez Al-Shaair, Christian Harris, and Henry Tutu, I believe that is. Your corners, Derek Stingley Jr., Desmond King, and rookie Kamari Lassiter. Your safeties, Jimmy Ward and Jalen Petrie. This is a team that looks exactly like that team that went to the Super Bowl a few years back. So, and to add on top of that, this team is young. I mean, you saw San Fran, that team was young, and they kept making runs at the Super Bowl after that. The difference between this team and that team is that Houston has a franchise guy. Jimmy G, although the Niners won games with him, you weren't going to win the big game with him because he wasn't the franchise guy. CJ Stroud ain't going to overthrow nobody in the Super Bowl. CJ Stroud is a winner. He's a franchise guy, and I think he's going to lead this team to a deep playoff run this year, and it's going to get him the MVP trophy in his second year. And I think within the next 3 to 5, like I keep saying, he'll be a Super Bowl MVP as well, man. And if you're a Houston Texans fan, you should be hyped. And if you're not hyped right now watching this video, we got the halftime speech for you right now.
They're fighting for clicks, we're fighting for wins. There's a difference, right? There's a difference.
I'm hurt, dog. Don't ask me if I'm all right. Hell no. Joaquin said dominate, and we not doing it. I'm putting my heart in this dog. Let's go, man. Let's go, baby. Let's go.
Lord, just want inside your heart and find out who you really are. Make sure you look at your teammates today and you come out and you give pure hell today. This team ain't ready for us. Let's prove that they ain't ready for us. Oh, get in here. Let's go. Get in here right now. Get in here. Hey, we got 30 minutes for the rest of our lives. 30 minutes for the rest of our lives.
Halftime speech, man. Halftime speech. What is a halftime speech? A halftime speech is a speech that a coach or a player gives at halftime to get his team going, to get his team to finish the game. And that's what this speech that I'm about to give you is for. It's to help you finish your day, help you finish your week, help you finish your month, your year, whatever it is, man. Whatever you need help on. I like to try to help, man. And if this does help, let me know. I appreciate everybody's feedback, man. But this halftime speech is about simply taking the risk, man. Life is too short to sit there and think, well, what if I did this? What if I did that? Go ahead and take the risk, because if you don't take the risk, you got to live with the consequence. You got to live with losing the chance. You got to live with not knowing what you could have been. Live knowing that you gave it all you had, instead of living regretting that you didn't take a chance, man. It's time to take those risks. We midway through the year, about to enter the last few months of the year. Don't go into the new year saying, damn, 2024, I could have done this. 2024, I could have done that. We always try to push it to the next year. Oh, next year, my year. No, make right now your year. Take that risk that you're scared to take. Take that risk that you're saying, I don't know if I want to do it or not. I don't know if it's right. I don't know if it's not. Forget all that. Take the risk. Go be great. Let's be great together, man. I appreciate all of you for watching. Again, drop a like, subscribe, share with a friend, man. Share with everybody that you know, man, because we're trying to make this a big group, a big community that just sits here and talks football. We're not talking nothing else other than football, man. And, you know, then the big names that you watch, the podcasts that you watch, man, I bet you can go comment on them and they not seeing it. Here, you comment, I promise I'm going to see it. I'm going to get back to you. I want that to be, again, interactive, engagement, all that stuff, man. If you agree with anything I said, disagree with anything I said, drop a comment below, text me, DM me, whatever it is, man. Until then, I'm going to see y'all next week, man.
Yeah.